What happens when Hollywood's most outspoken actor meets late-night television's most provocative host? You won't believe what unfolds when Mark Wahlberg sits down with Jimmy Kimmel, and tensions explode into the most shocking confrontation ever caught on live television. This isn't your typical celebrity interview gone wrong. This is a full-blown verbal warfare that had security scrambling and audiences gasping. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because you're not going to believe what unfolds when these two powerhouses clash in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. Last night's episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live started like any other, with Kimmel's trademark smirk and casual banter setting the stage for what viewers expected to be another lighthearted celebrity chat. But from the moment Mark Wahlberg walked onto that stage, something felt different. The air was thick with an unspoken tension that would soon erupt into television history. As Wahlberg settled into the guest chair, Kimmel wasted no time diving into controversial territory. So Mark, Kimmel began with that familiar, condescending tone. "I've been reading about your past lately. Pretty interesting stuff about your younger days in Boston." The comment hung in the air like a loaded weapon, and Wahlberg's jaw visibly tightened. "Jimmy, I thought we were here to talk about my new film," Wahlberg responded, his Boston accent thickening slightly, always a telltale sign that his patience was wearing thin. But Kimmel wasn't backing down. Instead, he leaned forward with that predatory smile that his critics know all too well. "Oh, come on, Mark. Your fans want to know about the real you. The guy who went from street fights to movie fights. That's quite the transformation, isn't it?" Kimmel's words dripped with mock admiration, but his eyes betrayed something darker, a hunger for controversy that would soon backfire spectacularly. Wahlberg's hands gripped the armrests of his chair as he tried to maintain his composure. "Listen, I've talked about my past plenty of times. I made mistakes, I learned from them, and I moved on. That's what people do when they grow up. Something you might want to try." The audience shifted uncomfortably as Kimmel's smile faltered for just a moment before returning even brighter. "Wow, tough crowd tonight," he quipped to the audience, but his voice carried an edge that wasn't there before. "But seriously, Mark, don't you think your fans deserve to know about your controversial comments regarding faith in Hollywood? Some pretty strong opinions there." That's when the temperature in the studio began to rise. Wahlberg straightened in his chair, his famous intensity now fully focused on his host. "My faith is personal, Jimmy. But since you brought it up, maybe we should talk about integrity. Something that seems to be in short supply around here." The tension was palpable as Kimmel's facade began to crack. His nervous laugh echoed through the silent studio as he realized he had pushed too far. "Hey now, Mark. We're all friends here. No need to get so serious." But Wahlberg wasn't having it. Years of dealing with Hollywood phonies had reached a boiling point, and Kimmel had just lit the fuse. "Friends? Is that what you call this? Dragging up my past while pretending to be supportive? That's not friendship, Jimmy. That's exploitation." The audience sat in stunned silence as the confrontation escalated beyond anything they had ever witnessed on late-night television. Kimmel, clearly rattled by Wahlberg's direct challenge, made the fatal mistake of doubling down. "Look, Mark, if you can't handle a few questions, maybe you shouldn't be doing interviews. This is how the game works in Hollywood." His voice carried that patronizing tone that had rubbed countless guests the wrong way over the years, but never quite this publicly. Wahlberg's eyes flashed with genuine anger. "The game? You think people's lives are a game? You think my journey from the streets to where I am now is entertainment for your ratings?" He leaned forward, his voice dropping to that dangerous whisper that anyone who knew him would recognize as a warning sign. But Kimmel, either oblivious to the danger or too arrogant to care, pressed on. "Come on, Mark. You've made millions off that tough guy image. Don't act like you're above it now." The words had barely left his mouth when he realized he had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Wahlberg stood up slowly, his chair scraping against the floor, with an ominous screech that seemed to echo through the suddenly silent studio. "You know what, Jimmy? I came here tonight out of respect for your show and your audience, but I won't sit here and be disrespected by someone who's never had to fight for anything real in his life." The camera operators scrambled to adjust their angles as the situation spiraled completely out of control. Kimmel, now visibly shaking, tried one last desperate attempt at damage control. Mark, please, let's just calm down and... Calm down? Wahlberg's voice rose for the first time, cutting through Kimmel's plea like a knife. You want to talk about my past? Let's talk about yours. Let's talk about the people you've hurt, the careers you've damaged, the lies you've spread behind that fake smile of yours. The studio fell into an eerie silence broken only by the mechanical hum of cameras still rolling. Kimmel's face had gone pale as he realized the monster he had awakened. Mark, I think there's been a misunderstanding here. No misunderstanding at all, Wahlberg replied, his voice steady but filled with barely contained fury. You understood perfectly what you were doing. You thought you could embarrass me on national television, make me look like some kind of fool for your entertainment. As security guards began moving closer to the stage, sensing the volatile situation, Wahlberg turned toward the audience. You people deserve better than this. You deserve hosts who respect their guests, not ones who ambush them for cheap laughs and ratings. Kimmel, desperate to salvage what remained of his dignity, made one final catastrophic error. Security, get him off my stage. The words echoed through the studio like a gunshot, and the audience gasped collectively at the host's public humiliation of his guest. Wahlberg turned back to face Kimmel one last time, his expression a mixture of disappointment and disgust. Your stage? This isn't your stage, Jimmy. This is supposed to be a place where people come to share their stories, their art, their humanity. You've turned it into a circus, and you're the biggest clown of all. Without another word, Mark Wahlberg straightened his jacket and walked toward the exit with the dignity and grace that Kimmel had tried so desperately to strip away. As he reached the edge of the stage, he paused and delivered his final devastating blow. Good luck explaining this to your bosses, Jimmy. Something tells me they won't find this as entertaining as you did. The last image viewers saw was Wahlberg's silhouette disappearing into the wings, while Kimmel sat frozen in his chair, his face a mask of shock and humiliation. The studio remained silent, except for the uncomfortable shuffling of an audience that had just witnessed the complete destruction of a host's credibility in real time. As the cameras finally cut to commercial, one thing was crystal clear. Mark Wahlberg had walked out with his dignity intact, while Jimmy Kimmel was left sitting alone on his stage, surrounded by the wreckage of his own making.